hand over to you.
Oh, thank you very much. And I better click on my slideshow. Right, okay. Where is it? Well, thank you very much for inviting me to come along and give a talk about the engravings, mainly the Downing Street glass. I thoroughly enjoyed doing the Downing Street glass because it was a lot of detail, and I love detail in work. But I thought, right, I'd show you some work that I do that's not buildings. If I can get buildings, I will always go for buildings. But frogs, I like something with a little bit of light-heartedness to it. And my Olympics one, and then my Culloden glass, they're all slightly different because once again, I like to do people as well as anybody else. Next slide. This is my workshop, and it is very, very tidy at the moment.
We haven't got you sharing the screen yet.
Right, sharing the screen. Where is it? Share screen. And where is it? Share. Is that shared?
Yes, we've got it now.
Right, I'm going to go back. I've gone forward. It's moved forward, and I'm going to have to go back. Let me just take that off, put it back on again. Come on, come on. Right, so it's can everybody see it?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Good. So I've said share screen.
Yes, we have it.
Yeah, it is sharing. That's all right. So these three pieces I thought I'd put on because they're so different to what I had to do for the Downing Street. Let's click. It doesn't want to move on. Right. As I said before, this is my working space, and it is very clean and tidy. If you look at it at the moment, because I'm actually sitting here, it's a mess, but it's a working mess, and it works very well. The drill that I use is on the left-hand side here, and it's just the size of a heavy pen. It's wonderful to use because the torque on it will allow me to go very slow and turn the burrs very slowly. But I thought, well, you need to see the type of place that I work in to produce glass engraving. But imagine this slightly more messy, a lot more messy. I enjoy, as I said, doing buildings, and these two buildings, Cambridge and Westminster, have lots and lots and lots of detail. With the Cambridge picture, I joined different buildings in Cambridge up with different bridges. So they have the Bridge of Sighs and the other bridges in Cambridge. Jeff will probably know all the bridges and the buildings in here. What I liked about doing this was of the detail, and on the top right you can see the detail that on top of the Corinthian columns. And these people that I've engraved are no more the tallest one than 1 inch. 2.5 centimeters. They are very small, but they still have details in the faces, their hands, their feet, their clothes that they're wearing. So if you imagine the tallest in that little arcade at the top is 1 inch, all the rest are smaller than that. So that's the type of detail that I like to get in. When I'm engraving, I actually have it's virtually 4x magnification, because I have special glasses made, prescription glasses, that are 2x extra added on, and then I wear those cheap old ones that you can get from Boots, etc., which are 2x again. So when I'm looking at it, I've got 4x magnification, and it works very well. I can actually see the detail. With the Westminster one, this is all, once again, different buildings in London, and it goes round the bowl. All of these go round the bowl. So as I said, this one has a lot of information on it, a lot of detail, and it's what I love to do. But Michael Nathan rang me up and said, would I be prepared to engrave some glasses with famous sites and in areas that around the country, Ireland, Scotland and England and Wales. And he gave me a list of ones that he wanted doing, that I could choose what I wanted to do first. He had given me this one, Stormont. When looking at the glass that he suggested for it, it fits the glass perfectly. It's the right shape, it fits on nicely. Only thing is, it doesn't have a lot of detail, which is the thing that I really do like. But it fits that glass, and that's what I had to look up, because the 3 types of glasses that he gave me was a carafe, a jug, and these tumblers. And they're all beautiful Dartington glass, and they engrave beautifully. The Welsh Parliament was a hard one because it's all glass. Everything about the Welsh Parliament is glass. So you had to find some way to make it look as if it's glass there. Then you've got all these steps and this strange roof that it has that comes right out and over. It took me a while to decide what view to decide to do on this particular glass. I tried all different views going round the building and ended up with this one because it's got all those steps. And when I was looking at photographs, people were actually sitting on the steps. But it's not an easy one to engrave because it's everything doesn't look right. It's, you know, the roof is at a queer angle. It's got a shaping in it that you think that shouldn't work. It eventually did, but it wasn't an easy one to design. The hardest one to design was the Scottish Parliament. Now this has angles all over it. It's hard to work out what is an awning and what are windows. And you've got windows at all different directions and sizes, and you've got raffia in one place, painting in another, queer shapes in another. I don't know if you've actually seen the Scottish Parliament yourself, but every time you go around to a different angle, it shows another group of strange constructions, I suppose you could say. There's when you look at the line that goes across in the middle of the glass, it's a bit like a tunnel that they walk through, and it's got raffia that comes all along the sides, and then the windows that are above it, and they're at an angle. They look as if they're lying flat. Luckily, the glass is straight-sided, so therefore I didn't have to work on looking at distortion in the glass or on the design. But this one was so hard to do. The windows and the boards at the top left-hand side, I don't know if they're around here, they're all different colors. And then you've got the windows here. So these are all different colors. And so I made them slightly different in shade. But the photograph doesn't show the slight shade, but you can see some of it. Not easy to do. This was a strange window up here. This is the one which you could imagine having loads of roses or flowers growing up the sides. And here, this is all bamboo-y. Very, 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 very strange building to actually engrave. And it was, once again, it was hard to work out what side to take it from. I thought this was the most interesting side because there was so much going on with the building. When you turn the building round and go further around to a different view, it's not quite so interesting. So I chose the most interesting side to put on this glass. And luckily, once again, it was a straight-sided glass, so there's no distortions in any way. But thoroughly enjoyed doing it. It was a challenge, to say the least. The Sheldonian. I enjoyed doing the Sheldonian. What you've got at the front, you've got all this fencing, which is all metal fencing. And the building is on the back of the glass. So you've got the 3D effect. It doesn't really show in this photograph that the main building is at the back, and then all the fencing is at the front. But on the top of all the fences are figureheads. So these are all figureheads that are along here. So I had to do all these figures. Now, once again, they are no more than an inch, in fact, probably slightly less than an inch to do these heads, which I thoroughly enjoy doing. They're all different. Every head on there is different. And when you come up to this side here, where you've got like a balustrade at the top there, and the windows that have lots and lots of glass squares, once again, it's an interesting one to do. And the distortion that you have in this one is with the building at the back, but luckily it is a round building, and so visually you can't see the amount of distortion from the photograph. But once again, there's a lot of information on there, a lot of detail. And when I'm engraving, I use usually to start with, I use stones to start with, and then use diamonds. I like a nice smooth surface. So when I'm starting to do a building, the first thing I do is do the solid side where there's no windows. I just make it all smooth with a stone, and then I will start. So this would all be smooth with stone, and then here is where I will then start to include the windows and the details around here. So when I engrave, I use a lot of Arkansas stones rather than diamonds. This one I liked. It was a really strange caterpillar building, the Sage. This is up my area up here in the north. And when you look at this down here, this is all polished out glass. I had to do a lot of polishing out. This whole building is quite a strange building with regards the visibility, a lot of glass. So some I had to make look as if they were glass, and some I had to show reflections. Now they would normally here, there's reflections on the black, and you can just about see the lines of the windows. Here, it's once again, it's glass. The top bit here, when you turn, if you turn the building round a bit, it looks like a slug, which isn't a very nice word to call it. It's not a beautiful building, but it's an interesting building. And the problems that I had when I was doing this was I had to polish out a lot. So I engraved all of this, the whole lot, with a stone, and then came back and put detail and did polishing out with rubbers. So these were with rubbers here, but everything, every window is engraved. They are not plain glass. Every window that I put in any, if I go back to the previous one, I engraved the black on the window. That's engraved and then polished back, and then put the detail on. So I don't rely on the glass to be black. I make sure that I polish what I want to be black. And that's what I did here. So I originally engraved this side and engraved all of that so it was white. And when it was lovely and smooth, I then put the detail in and polished it all out. It was an interesting one to do. It hasn't got the detail that I enjoy doing best. But once again, it has its challenges. And the challenge there was, once again, I've got to make the glass of the building look like glass. The fourth rail bridge. This, I've got the actual railway line goes right through, round the glass handle and comes back the other side. You've got the bridge here with all the stays that keep it up, and I've got a little tiny train that's coming through here. I had to decide, did I want a puffer train or did I want an ordinary electric train? I put a puffer train on. So although you can't see it there is a little bit of smoke that comes up there. once again, this was an interesting one because how to put it round this jug. The bulbous side does distort slightly, but at least with these stanchions here, I've got them going right round, and I managed to make sure that they were absolutely upright straight. When you work on a round area, it distorts your work. So you've really got to make sure that when you're putting it on the glass and you have drawn it on the glass first, that the lines are where you want the lines to be. They haven't been distorted when you turn the glass around. When you turn this one round and see the other side of the bridge, the bridge is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, as if you're looking across the river to see the other side of the bridge. So it starts from on the other side of the handle and then goes round. And it was an interesting one to decide on how to actually put it there. I decided I wouldn't put water there because it wouldn't look right, because this is higher than here. I couldn't put water there. And then I decided, should I? And it's just something that I just felt wouldn't look right. So I decided to leave water out of it. The red house glass cone, Sarah will know this one. She'll tell me whether I've done it right. I enjoyed doing this. To me, it fitted the shape so beautifully. It really did. And I enjoyed doing it. Once again, everything, when I started this one with the cone, I used stones, and I had that really smooth, really flat, and I smoothed it out, and it gradually turned just a slight grey. And then I was able to put the details of the brickwork on there, including some of the little bits of vegetation that was growing out. It added more character to the cone part of the building. Then I had to decide, right, these little outhouses going round, making sure that when you look at it from this angle, which I wanted people to look at it from, that they were actually fitting right. And once again, distortion didn't come into it. Because the body is round, the potential for this to distort, you had to remember. And so I made sure that I didn't have that. Once again, when I was engraving, I just engraved, like for here, I engraved the whole lot with stones. Gradually got it to the colour I wanted it with stones, and then polished the windows out, and the same doing the brickwork on the roof. So I polished out the roof and then put the brickwork in on top. Same applies with over here. And with the polishing that I did behind the plants that were there. So what I had actually done was I engraved with stones right down to here, then engraved the window, and then engraved the flowers. But I had to put the shadows behind the flowers and the vegetation there. It was a really nice picture to put on that particular glass, because I felt it suited the glass and it filled the glass with the sage, which was the same shape. Because of the shape of the sage, there was no height. So whereas this, you've got this lovely height. Whoops, let me go back again. You've got this lovely height that goes right up to the neck. Whereas with the sage, which is just bulbous and flat, it didn't have the same appeal as this one did. So yes, that was one that I thoroughly enjoyed doing, the red house glass cone. So I hope Sarah likes it. I don't think she's seen it unless she's seen it in a book, but she can tell you all about that. This one was lovely to do, the Liverpool Metropolitan Cathedral. Once again, I felt it suited the shape of the glass that was there. When I was doing these windows at the top, the same principle arrives here. I engraved the whole lot. There was no black glass there at all. I engraved the whole lot with stones. You can tell that I don't use a lot of diamonds. I use stones a lot. And when I had flattened it all out, smoothed it all out, should I say, I then polished out each window and then drew each window. They're all different. They're all different stained glass windows up there. And it was great to actually to try and replicate all in each little area. Some are bigger here and smaller here. So the windows weren't just one size. They were all different sizes. It was a lovely thing to engrave. But I had polished it back first before I put the detail on. When you look down this area here, you can see it's very smooth. Once again, these are my stones that are doing this. And my stones I used to make the black for the door and the window at the bottom, and to do the same round here. It's to bring it, it's much easier. I do use diamonds, mainly diamond balls or some rat's tail burrs, but I do like the stones for the effect that they get. And because this building, when you look at it, is so smooth, everything, the walls are so smooth, I had to replicate that. And the same with the double cross. I had to make it so it was, once again, very, very smooth, but I wanted to just add a bit of tone color into it. So this a little bit darker, and then we get darker, and then get really dark. And this is all by polishing with a rubber, different colored rubbers on my drill. Once again, this one has got steps. They all seem to have lots of steps. And this fitted nicely round. The steps went round the building just the same way as it's going round the jug, that the carafe that it's on. It suited the design, suited the glass perfectly. And that was nice to see. This is one of my very, very favorite things because, as you can guess, there's a lot of detail. The Royal Albert Memorial, when I saw that, I thought, if it's going to fit that carafe absolutely beautifully. And when you see how far it goes up, and then all the detail, as with other detail I've spoken about, this on the side is about 1 inch, 1.5 inches tall. So you've got these figures, and they're all in detail with their clothes and their robes and so forth, including their face. I've got the detail on all of those. But they are very, very small. So if you say that is 2 inches in height, then you've got the statue, which is about 3 inches, 4 inches, about 3 inches in height. Couldn't be any more than that, because I had to fit all of that in here. So the detail, once again, I smoothed the whole lot out. So the surface was just smoothed out. So this was all just smooth engraving all along here, all around to where the shape is. And then down the bottom, it was all smoothed out. And then I drew the detail on again. And I love doing all this detail that's around here. It's absolutely beautiful to do. But once again, I used rubbers to highlight the darks and the lights. But I found, because I do deep engraving, that I didn't have to put shadow in these little people and the building, because I dig deep and I go in really deeply to give the 3D effect. It automatically gives the shadow around what I was engraving. And these figures, there is no shading at all done. It's just the engraving that has given them the dark and the light. I use a round ball, and then I use the stones to smooth it all out. But I didn't use any polishing on the entire item. It was just done with stones and a couple of balls from diamond balls. It was a lovely one to do, but as you can see, information, the detail on here is quite finite. I think Queen Victoria, she really wanted to have it detailed. On the, I don't know if any of you saw an article last night on the television, that below this statue, there's massive tunnels and carved areas underneath this statue. They would be down underneath in the depths down here. I must admit, I didn't realize, I thought it was just a statue. I didn't realize there was caves and tunnels and so forth underneath it. It's one that I thoroughly enjoyed, mainly because of the detail that's there. Of course, I think you all know about the Downing Street collection book. I don't know where Michael Nathan put them, but it's a beautifully produced booklet that is well worth looking at. And each engraver, and there's plenty of us engravers. There were 9 of us engraving, 5 of us engraving, and it was a pleasure to go and get them presented and know that they're going to actually be used. They're not sitting in a cupboard, they're going to be used at meetings. I think the first meeting that David Cameron was going to have was in Ireland. So he said he had to make sure he took the right mug or glass with him. But so that book, I'd say I've got here, and it's nice to have. It's useful. So these are my other subjects that I enjoy engraving, and as you can see, I've got I was into the cycling when the cycling was on. Of course, it's going to be on again soon. So I did a light-hearted. All these people are cycling around the bowl, and in the background there's a little old lady sitting on a little old bike, and in front of her is a little girl on a 3-wheeler trike. And these ones I've called it "And in the Lead Is," and they're all different people who are going round. Horses, I had a spell where all I did was horses, and they were all polo horses. In fact, one person wanted me to do the polo horse like this one, but he also wanted to have all the equipment engraved on a vase. So he had the polo player, and in another vase was the equipment that you have to have. That was interesting, and it was quite a nice thing to do, because once again, there's quite a bit of detail. On the right-hand side here, Pickwick paper. I really enjoyed doing this one. This one is on a pewter mug and pewter lid, and I've got 4 different sections around it where I've done a different scene around each one. And I love doing these. These characters have so much interest for me. There I was digging in and making quite a deep mark in when I was digging these heads out and the bodies. And it was one that I really liked. But this one I used everything. I used diamond stones, I used diamonds, I used stones, I used rubbers. So I used the whole lot on this one. And it was one that I thoroughly enjoyed doing because, as I said, it has a lot of detail in it. And you have to get the people right. The face of the man on the left and his little whiskers, and he had big eyebrows. And it was interesting. It was interesting to do. Well, I've come to the end of what I can talk about, although I can go on talking for a long time. Is there any questions that anybody has?
Do you have a picture of the Wimbledon Bowl that you did?
I have. Do you want me to find it? The Wimbledon Bowl. All right, let's see if with luck I'll have it on here. Wimbledon, where's Wimbledon? It's commissions. The Wimbledon, I should have put it on, shouldn't I? Downing Street, Wimbledon, where is it? Wimbledon. All right. Let's see. No books. Right. This is one of the Wimbledon ones. Let me go around this way. The brief.
Haven't got it yet.
Oh, I've got to screen it, haven't I? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sharing. That's okay. My commission had to be a bowl that was no more than 10 inches tall, because it has to sit on a table and people must talk over it. And I did 3 different designs, and the one they liked was the outfits, Wimbledon outfits during the years Wimbledon has been there. So we've got people in long skirts, long dresses. Some of them have got long trousers. He's got knee-length trousers and a funny hat on. These ones haven't been finished because they're not finished yet. These are me working on them.
We haven't got the picture, Sandra.
You not?
You have to stop sharing the one that you were sharing.
All right. So that one I got to stop and go across to this one, and that one, and share, and it's upside down. So if I go back.
Aha, right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's lovely.
Okay. This one I'm still working on, as you can see. This is taken while I haven't done anything on I'm still working on this side. I'm working on these people. So the idea was different outfits throughout the Wimbledon, went from when Wimbledon first started to now. So you've got the gentleman here who's got 3/4 length trousers and shirts, with the wore shirts. At the back here, you've got a lady with a long dress. This lady is quite up to date. This is a linesman. This is the winner, so he's quite happy. This is the ball boy. I put a ball boy in there, and this is another man. So once again, I've also put in the umpire. So the umpire is there. Let's see if I can get a better picture. I'll just have a look and see how far back it's going to be, because those ones are all ones that I'm working on. Let's have a look and see. So let me go through.
Sandra, can you say how long this took you, please?
This took me, I think, about 78 hours engraving, 80 hours engraving. The design took longer. You can see this is one I'm working on because it's got sellotape around the rim there. So I'm trying to move it across, but it doesn't want to move across. That's better. The design took longer, believe it or not, because I produced 3 designs. One of the designs that I was interested in is the audience from inside the court, and the buildings and the audience, and at either end you could see a tennis player was one of the ideas that I had. But they liked this one because it had they wanted to have the costumes. If I can move that on a bit. As you can see, this is a more finished one. As you can see, it's better. You can see the better engraving there rather than within. So there's the young lady who's getting ready, who's ready to hit the shot. He's already hit the shot. And there we've got the umpire. And I wrote on here that it was engraved by me. This lady, once again, she's got a hat on, but she's got a 3/4 length dress, which isn't what they wear at the moment. This one has got a little ball boy. He's kneeling down on the bottom here. This is a lady with a crinoline type outfit on. So they're all different outfits. It was good, as you can see that I'm working on that one. So it was a really good one to work on. But yes, I suppose, you know, a couple of 100 hours. When you think of designing three different designs before I engraved, and yeah, it was a good one to do.
Yeah.
If you can unshare your screen, I can. Let's just see if I can do this. That'll give you a perspective of the size.
Well, yes, it was a beautiful bowl to engrave, and yeah, that was just a couple of years ago.
And who made the bowl?
Right now, it's on the tip of my tongue here because his studio burnt down from down Devon way. Oh, what's his name?
Potter and Melland.
No.
William Walker.
His studio, his glass blowing studio caught fire, and I know that he complained when he blew this glass because it was a big glass, and he said to spin it. I gave him the sizes that I wanted, and he did to the fraction of an inch exactly how I wanted it. Beautiful straight side. It couldn't be straighter if they tried. When I said I needed to have a 10, no bigger than 10 inch for the bowl, it was literally that. And oh, it's annoying me. His name's gone.
Potter Morgan Glass in
Morgan, yes, Potter Morgan Glass. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right. I've just found this.
All right.
It was on my desk. I don't know how we got it or why we got it, but
yes, Potter Morgan Glass. Absolutely beautiful glass. It was.
They were from Cornwall.
Yeah. I know he's down that way. It's a long way from where I am in Catterick.
Yes, indeed.
To say, I would recommend him because what I asked for and what I had designed, he did perfectly, absolutely perfectly. I would use him again. Very well, very good.
With the pieces that you made for Downing Street, how much time in total did you put in for that one?
Oh. I have a little booklet somewhere. That's over here. Let me see. Let's see. Let me go. The Olympics, the Wimbledon Bowl took me 145 hours to engrave. Just so you know, it's down in my book. I'm just looking for Downing Street Tumblers. Right, so the Sheldonian was 21, Stormont was 17, the Welsh Parliament was 15, Scottish Parliament was 20 hours, the Albert Memorial was 30 hours, the Red House Glass Cone was 15, and the Cathedral was 31 and the Sage was 15. The fourth rail bridge was 17. So that would give you an idea, each one there, and then you have the designing, because the research to make sure you've got the right pieces.
Wow.
How do you put the design onto the glass before you start doing the engraving?
I put a basic design on there because it's no point doing a finite design on there, because I'm going to be engraving and smoothing it all over. Until I've done that, the engraving on the flat, the shape of whatever it might be, there's no point putting a drawing, because I'm just going to engrave on top. So what I do is I fill in, I have it so that it's all nice and smooth, the general shape, and then I will draw the item on it. So the answer is only the outside is engraved, and then after I've engraved and made it nice and smooth with a stone and filled in all that, then I draw the design on top of there. So
how do you draw the design? What do you use to draw?
I got my felt tip pens, and I trace it through using so part of it I hand draw, and I literally copy it from the picture, which, believe it or not, the Albert Memorial is easier for me to do it that way, and I draw it freehand from the picture onto the glass. So I just put the basic shape and I engrave the basic shapes, and then I will draw probably with a pen, a felt tip pen or a pencil, because a pencil will draw on there nicely the next bit I'm going to engrave. So I'm really doing, especially with that one, the Albert Memorial, I am engraving a bit at a time. When I did the actual man himself, Albert sitting there, that's when I get stones, drills, diamonds out to make the shape. But I do it all by hand. I do it all by eye with the picture on the side.
I think it's really astonishing, actually.
I'm fascinated on how you keep straight lines.
Keep straight lines?
Yes.
Oh, it's great. Sellotape or a tape. Sellotape is really good.
Oh, wow. And does the glass have to be a certain thickness for you to be able to shave levels of it off?
No. For me, I would have to be quite brutal if I broke a piece of glass. I'm touching wood here. I haven't broken a piece of glass in all the time I've been engraving. I've had the top shear off overnight from the stress lines. Yeah. And that certainly taught me check the stress lines in future. And I've kept that glass where when I came back the next day, I could see this line around the top of the goblet. And it was a beautiful goblet. And I just started doing some work on it. And I thought, what's that? I'm going to lift it. I literally lifted the top off. So yes, you've got to remember stress lines can actually.
I'm surprised the fourth bridge didn't do that, because it looks like it goes right the way round. Does it?
I know. Yeah. Yeah. The fourth and the ring. That's a good one.
How did you get into glass engraving, Sandra?
I saw somebody doing it and I liked it. It was when we used to live down in Basingstoke. And we went to one of these craft places, which were converted pigsties that they made into little units for any kind of handiwork. And I saw this man, and he was engraving names on this goblet. And my husband bought one with my name on it. And unfortunately, he put my date of birth on as well, which you don't really want to put on a mug, on a glass. And I saw this person doing it, and I thought I'd love to do that. Well, I was brought up just near Basingstoke, and where my parents were, when I went visiting them, there was the school I went to, secondary school, and they had a class on glass engraving. So I thought, I'm going to enroll. And as it happens, the woman who was doing it used to be a member of the guild, but through some reasons wasn't. But she sold the guild and said, if you want to learn more, join the Guild of Glass Engravers, which I did. And I went on another course, which was literally scratching with a pen on glass, literally just a diamond point and scratch, scratch, scratch. And I decided, no, I don't want this. So I went on courses with Peter Dreiser, did a couple of his and so forth. And he actually he made me love doing 3D work. I love carving into the glass and making whatever I'm doing look 3D. And he put me on the straight and narrow. I went on his course and I was engraving a griffin. And I thought I was being very good on this griffin. And Peter came up and said, everybody come here, go round Sandra. And I thought, you know, really, really clever here, you know, I've been picked out good. She's doing it all completely wrong. She's tackled this from the wrong way. She needs to do it a different way. We'll rub it completely and we'll put it back in again. And I wish that the floor could have opened up underneath. But he says it in such a way, because he's such a nice man, that you don't take any offense. And that one day, or that one thing, changed my life with glass engraving. I changed to the dark side, wanting 3D effect rather than a flat surface. So yeah, that's it's strange the way you actually start, but now I just love doing detail and 3D work. So all my work that I do looks kind of 3D because I like the shape. But no, you don't. You can do deep engraving on very, very thin glass. You just got to be careful. It's like with those things.
Did you train in art before you did gloss engraving?
No, when I left school, I was going to be a dressmaker and tailor. That's what I was going to be, but I didn't get to college. I got to college, but they said college is 6 months away. Get yourself a little job to get some money. So I did dental nursing. That's been very useful. A lot of birds. So no, I haven't. I just like drawing, and I can copy a design very easily. If I've got it there, I can do that.
Does putting liquid inside the carafes or the tumblers make any difference to the images?
It doesn't actually. It looks quite nice. If you've got a darker color like a red wine, you can still see them there. No, it doesn't make a difference. But I have put water in to stop reflections when I've been photographing glass. It's because if you fill it up full, so it doesn't look like it's got any water in, it does help if you want to take a photograph of that piece of glass. Have you tried it, Rob? Oh no, he's on mute.
Guinness, Sandra. Guinness, it's black. Works better, and you can drink it afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, do that. But no, I've not had any teaching in any way as far as the art side is. I just like doing art and drawings. So as I say, I can copy well.
How many hours a week do you actually put to the side to do your engraving?
I don't tend to put to one side. I fit it around other things that I do. I like to engrave in the afternoon because I like the light. So it's usually in the afternoon, and in the middle of the afternoon, I get a nice cup of tea from husband. He's well trained, so he comes in at 3 o'clock and puts a mug of tea there. So that's great. At the moment, if I'm fitting it around doing teaching glass engraving, I'm doing a bit of teaching at the moment. It works around other things that I do. And of course, I've got to do my line dancing. I like my line dancing. It goes around.
Do you do teaching at home, or do you go to schools or colleges?
No, I not far from us is a place, Masm, and in there, just outside there, there's an area where they have all different types of courses. and they contacted me and said, would I be prepared to do any glass engraving courses for beginners initially. So I said, yes, I'm quite happy to do that. So I go there, and I've got all the equipment and all the burrs, and we have the entire day. So you're there for the day. And they've asked me now to do more of the next step up. So the beginners, they've done the beginners. They now want to do something else. So the next step up would probably be carving out, like Jeff does, or it might be deep engraving or a different type of engraving. So they want to move up to the next level. So if I can collar them and get them, then might be able to get them to join the guild and things like that. But it's a good place. It's a lovely place, Madam. For me, it's very convenient because it's only 10 minutes down the road. It's lovely classrooms that you can use, and the people there are really good. And that's just outside Massam. And
right. I have a picture I'll show you, which you might or might not recognise.
Oh, look.
That is the glass seller's Peter Dreiser glass, which was presented to the company some years ago, and at present sits. It's not the best photograph, unfortunately, because it actually has the skyline of the City of London. And as you just see on this right-hand side here is the Dome of St. Paul's.
Yeah.
But it was given to the company by Peter, and at the moment it sits in the courtroom of the Clerk of the Chamberlain Court, where they perform the ceremonies of the freedom of the City of London.
Oh, nice.
And so when any of our members go to get their freedom of the City of London, they are always asked if they can find the piece of glass that we've lent them to, and it sits in the glass cabinet, so it's really rather nice.
Yes. I can see he's done some nice clouds on it as well.
Yeah.
Clouds are hard to do.
Well, hopefully one day I'll be able to take you there and you can see it in reality.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Do that sometime if you're down in town.
Yeah.
I think we're just hitting the hour, and I think unless there's any more questions, I'll get the master to wind us up.
Thank you. Well, everyone, I'm sure you'll agree with me that when Sandra says pieces are challenging, it makes everybody else quiver, because her work is stupendous. And to hear a building described as being a bit like a slug when we're looking at it, and it's absolutely fabulous and beautiful with lovely lines, doesn't sort of sit well there at all. Sandra, your work is just amazing, and I am so pleased you've been able to tell us all about it, and especially about Michael Nathan's work, commission for Downing Street, because I haven't seen it in person. I know Jenny will have done, and I don't know if anybody else has seen it in person, but it is really rather nice. And of course, the Red House cone is very familiar to most of us, and that again is beautiful. And I'm glad you managed to put a few bits of buddleia sticking out the side, because that really is the bane of cone life. So on behalf of all of us, thank you so much, and I hope you'll come back again.
Well, thank you very much. I can always waffle on about my work, so I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Do make sure we know if you're down in London, won't you?
Yes, I'm afraid my son's just moved from London, so he's moved up to Coventry, so I'm not down there so much now. Yes, I will certainly do that. Thank you very much for the invite.
Thank you.
On that note, everybody, I think we will say good night. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I hope you are all keeping cool and relaxed, and we will be in communication when we have another evening. Thank you very much indeed. Good night, all.